Hey folks, it's Michael Kostroff. In the last few weeks, I've been rerunning some of my older weekly messages because I felt like I didn't have any new ideas. And then I look back and I realized I've been doing these messages every week since 2018. I think it was might have been January of 2018. I forgot what month. I was like, yeah, of course, some similar themes are going to come up, and it's okay for me to revisit some ideas we've talked about before. Every week since 2018. That's pretty amazing. I love making these videos for you all, and I'm delighted to know that they're helpful. Today, I want to talk about your first day on set. And again, we've talked about some things in and around this, but I'm going to take it from a different perspective today. Uh, uh, I have the privilege of coaching a lot of actors, and some of them are relatively new to television. And uh, even if it's not their first day on set, sometimes it is one of their first days on set when they book a job. So um, it is, and my goal is always to not to tell you, hey, don't be nervous, but to reduce those nerves, to take away some of the silly things that make us nervous that we just don't need. Okay, it's understandable. It's if it's a new environment, it's exciting, and it's understandable to have some butterflies. When you're going to be going on set, but we are very, very good at taking it to a ridiculous level. Um, One of the things that I find very helpful is to assume that everybody's good at their job. And I'm going to explain to you how that benefits you. Okay. Um, and to a large extent, folks who work in TV and film are good at their job, or they tend to not last because everything is too expensive and too busy and too schedule dependent. And people just tend to be pretty good at their stuff. And so I want to just sort of groove that in. Here's why. If it's 4 o'clock and you're shooting tomorrow and you haven't heard anything, it doesn't mean they forgot. It doesn't mean that they dropped the ball. It doesn't mean that you've been fired. It means there's a good reason why you haven't heard from them yet, because they don't know your call time yet. Chill out. Assume that they know what they're doing. You don't need to call your agent and say, it's 4 p.m., I still haven't heard anything, or it's 6 p.m., still haven't heard anything. They are actually not able to give you your call time until they wrap the previous day. That's just how it works. So assume they're good they got that covered. You don't have to do their job for them. Your only job is to do your part, your acting part. I want you to also assume that casting, very good at their job. And the producers who chose to cast you, very good at their job. Or the writers or the directors, whoever, very good at their job. Therefore, you should not approach your first day on set with I hope I don't fuck up, I hope I don't get fired, I hope they don't feel like they picked the wrong person. Friend, that ship has sailed. They picked the person. You don't get to feel that way. Or if you do feel that way, you need to tell yourself to shut up and stop being silly. Um, we are past that hurdle. You are the person they picked. You are the right person. You're. They just assume they know knew what they were doing when they picked you. That you were the person they wanted for that part. They go through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of submissions. I've said this to you before, but I'm going to remind you. Sometimes thousands of submissions to whittle down the people they want to see, to whittle down the people they want to call back, to whittle down the people that they want to show to the producer, director, whoever. And out of all those people, they went, we want you. We want that actor. Great. Give him the job, set it up, and that's you. That's you. It's really, really a foolish waste of energy and anxiety and concern and nerves for you to think there's even a remote chance that you're going to get fired, or that you're going to screw up, or that you're going to do something that makes them regret hiring you. They're real good at that process. They do it every week. Every week. so you can come to work with the assumption that you do not have an additional task of proving yourself. You've already done that. I'm serious. This is really, you got to work with yourself on this one. Next thing I want to tell you about your first day on set is there's a lot going on. And if you're from theater, that it can be very, very overwhelming to see all the machinery, all the equipment, blah, blah, blah. Excuse yourself from any obligation to understand it all, because that can be also overwhelming. Um, you need to listen to the second AD, the production assistant. You'll have an interaction with the sound person, the wardrobe person, makeup and hair, director. That may be it. That may be the entire circle. I might be forgetting somebody, but pretty much that's the circle. Um, you don't have to necessarily understand what the camera, what the lights, what all these. Somebody's going to object that I said that, but you don't have to have a full understanding of what all the other crew positions are doing. Um, they're on it. They're expert. They're on their job. Totally fine. Um, I'm going to remind you of something I'm really, really passionate about. Apologizing and asking for permission are two things that make the other person have to work harder. You really, really want to wean yourself off of apologizing. I'll tell you when you can apologize. If you have wandered off set, you decided to go get a sandwich or something a few blocks away, and they were looking for you, and you held up the scene. Yeah, that's something to apologize for, but you're not going to do that. You're a professional. You know not to leave the area without telling somebody. And actually, in case you don't want to ever leave the area where they know you are without telling somebody. If you have to go to the bathroom, you let them know. I'll be in the bathroom. You tell a production assistant, and they will sometimes walk you there so that they know exactly where you are. That's important. They have to know where you are. But um, if you screw up a line, it happens. Sometimes the microphone is in the shot, or the camera, doesn't pan right, or something isn't quite right, and they go cut. Let's fix that light before we go again. Nobody has to apologize to anybody. It's the reason we have multiple takes. That's what we do. I learned this from watching big stars, and this is what they do. They if they blow a line, they take a pause. They reconnect with their scene partner, and they pick up where they left off, knowing that the editor can make the cut work. It is such a waste of time to go, sorry, everybody, sorry, I'm so sorry. What is the line? I'm so sorry. Can we start again? Exhausting. You've now apologized and asked for permission and made an unnecessary cut that nobody needs. You don't need it. It seems like you're being very polite and very nice, but it is exhausting and time-consuming. Also, script supervisor might come over between takes and correct a line that you got wrong. You do not need to apologize. What you need to do is just say, "Oh, thanks." Script supervisor is doing his or her job. It's usually her. She's doing her job and doesn't need your apology. It's all fine. Nobody's offended. You haven't offended anybody. We suffer, actors tend to suffer under this weird terror that we're constantly in danger of offending. People are much more comfortable if you will just take up the space you've been given. Just step into the job that you were given. That's yours. And yeah, and yeah. Know that you don't get feedback. Typically, you don't get feedback. The director very rarely will say, "That was an amazing take." If you hear nothing, it means you're doing your job. It means you're doing a great job. How often will you hear a director say to the cameraman, "That was a great take"? No, of course it was a great take. Everybody's doing a great job. Everybody's really good at their job, including you. And the way to be part of that great SWAT team is by coming in with the assumption that you're good, everybody's good, and we all know it. We all know we're good at what we do. Um, Try to wean yourself off of apologizing and asking for permission, and and that's a hard one. So, what else do I want to tell you about your first day on set? Uh, Go easy on the craft service. It's very exciting to have all that free food, but what happens is we eat, and then they call lunch, and you're like, oh crap, I'm full, and now they've got this gourmet lunch that they're feeding me. So pace yourself. I have found that when I'm on set, it's one of the only times that I'm really carb conscious because if I eat carbs on set, I get so sleepy. So I'm really like a raw vegetables guy on set. The other thing I want to tell you is that again, it sort of all falls under the same category of people being good at their jobs. Um, I used to stay hyper vigilant, ready to go whenever they needed me for the entire day. I'd stay, close to the camera so they didn't have to go to the dressing room to get me or whatever. Or like I would just be way available, trying to overdo the job. When they've invited me, they've said, "Hey, feel free to hang out in the dressing room. We'll come get you, or the trailer, or whatever. We'll come get you when we need you." Trust them. They will come get you when they need you. They're good at this. They do it all the time. Go ahead and relax. Don't wear yourself out by being, alert for 6 hours, ready to do your scene, ready, poised at any moment, like you might get thrown in at a moment's notice. Um, they will give you plenty of notice because they are used to actors going, "Oh, great, give me a second, I'm just going to go to the bathroom," or "Give me a second, I just want to get a snack from craft service." They're used to that. So they give you advance notice. They make sure they're like, just letting you know we're going to need you in about 20 minutes. They're good at it. It all usually operates very, very well. By the way, everything I'm telling you may be less so on an independent film, and even less so on a student film. So they're often not as organized, and that's okay too. You can help them by not adding to the chaos. But what I'm saying is, on a professional production, fully professional level production, this is how things go. So you can really eliminate a lot of the things that could stress you out. It's very hard. Listen, it's hard for me too. It's very hard for us to go, well, I'm good at my job. Very hard. But it's not only in your best interest, it's in everybody's best interest. So nobody will think you're lazy if you relax in your dressing room until they're ready for you. That's better for them to not have to worry about you. I know where Michael is. He's in his dressing room. Great. Got it. I have other things to deal with before then. It's not all about him. That's great. Um, you have to let everybody do their job. I have a tendency to want to help everybody. So, um, for example, sometimes wardrobe has said, "Can I carry your jacket to set?" I've got, "Oh, no, no, I've got it." I'm like carrying it over my shoulder. They're like, "I would prefer to carry it to set," because they're going to carry it on a hanger very neatly or in a bag in a way that will preserve it for the shot. Let them do it. Let them do it. You're not being bourgeois. You're not being lazy. They want to do it. That's their job, you know? Um, um, yeah. I mean, obviously, don't be a jerk. Nobody wants to work with a jerky person. It's perfectly appropriate to be thank people for what they do. That's great, but that's their job. That's what they do. That's one of the things they do. I hope this is helpful to you. I know a lot of folks are sometimes booking their first thing or even auditioning for their first thing, and this may even help you in that regard because sometimes if you haven't done a lot of TV, you might think, oh, TV. It's not a big leap, and there's not a lot. There's not all this stuff to know. By the way, that's another thing. Again, I've said it before. There is this myth that you have to hide your lack of experience. Why? Why? There's nothing wrong with being on set and saying, "I'm brand new at this, so tell me anything." That's when you might get the camera guy saying, "Let me give you a tip. Just track that with your eyes," or something like that. They might tell you something interesting, or watch this piece of tape by the camera. I'm going to put it right here. You know, people like to share what they know. There's no shame in going, guys. I am brand new. Be gentle or whatever. Uh, it's totally fine. Totally fine. That's all I have for you this week. I hope that some of this is helpful. Uh, if it's not helpful, just tell me what you want to talk about. I love when people write in with questions, and hope we're all doing well out there. And I'll see you next week. We'll talk about other things. All right. Bye.